Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Southern Football Network. I'm telling you, it's November. This is when football gets interesting, especially in the SEC. We've got George Teague, the All-American from Alabama. Welcome to the show.
I'm in the house, baby.
You are in the house. Your roll tide's looking better, man.
Hey, man. Other than having surprisingly losses to Vanderbilt and Tennessee, I think our team looks good. We had a great week, and you know, I'm roll tide all day, baby.
I know you are. You are, and I even wore the roll tide colors just for you, man.
Well, that's because you love me, and
let's not get carried away. I don't know about love. I covered you when you were 5-11 with the Cowboys. That was not love. That was painful, dude. Yeah. Painful. But we're talking Alabama. They never go 5-11. Okay, let's talk about the odds right now. Currently, the odds from Vegas. Here are the odds. You get to pick. You start with you, George. How many of these teams do you think are going to make the college football playoffs, and which ones?
I think 4 of us are going to make it to the playoffs.
Okay.
Tennessee being one, Alabama being another, Texas being one.
Yeah.
And,
that's a tough one.
I know, because I just don't like Lane Kiffin all that much. So I'm going to boot him out and I'm going to put Georgia in.
Okay, you putting Joe. All right, I'm going to go Texas. I'm going to be very close. Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, and in a shocker, Georgia's been up and down this year. I'm going Ole Miss. All right, we're going to go now to the rest of you guys. We'll start with Jamie, Jason, Charlie. Let's make your picks. Jamie, what do you got? Let's show that graphic again so you can see them. The teams up there. Obviously, the favorites are in order. Jamie, you're off. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the SEC is going to get 4 teams in here, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens on Saturday between Tennessee and Georgia. I think that game, and then obviously the Texas A&M game, is going to not only dictate how many teams get into the playoff, but which teams get into the SEC championship, which is almost a more interesting discussion for me right now.
Right.
We're going to have to go down to perhaps maybe the 4th tiebreaker of strength of schedule and strength of record to determine that. But you know what, you guys, after watching the show last night, I was really bummed. And let me tell you, if I ever see a sad Georgia Bulldog fan, nothing as an Alabama fan makes my heart happier. However, if I am a Georgia Bulldog right now, I am furious at the committee with having the number 1 strength of schedule, the number 3 strength of record, and being not, yes, they're ranked 12th, but they're the first team out of the playoff. So I got them Saturday beating Tennessee, and I think if that happens, then they're in. But yeah, wow, that was really wild to see that last night, that the Georgia Bulldogs were out based on, I mean, guys, they had to play on the road in Oxford, in Knoxville, in Austin. Come on.
Yeah, that's a tough role. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, so I like everybody else, I think Texas is kind of a shoe-in. I think they get past Arkansas, Kentucky, A&M. They're into the SEC championship and roll on to the playoffs. Alabama as well. Alabama's got pretty much the easiest schedule out of everybody. They play Mercer. Then they got Oklahoma and Auburn for the Iron Bowl. We'll talk a little bit about the Iron Bowl a little bit later. But then Tennessee and Georgia, man, toss up right there as to which one gets in. And I know I want to be a homer and say that Tennessee's going to get in. But it really boils down. I think Saturday for Tennessee, Georgia is an elimination game, one way or the other. Whoever wins that game is in really the driver's seat to make the playoffs versus the other. And then Ole Miss would be my 4th. They play, Florida and Mississippi State left on their schedule. I think they get in. So I think those are the 4 teams. I think A&M's on the outside looking in.
All right, Charlie, you're the last one up. What do you got?
Well, I think this is an elimination game for Georgia, but I don't think it's an elimination game necessarily for Tennessee. I think Tennessee can get in with 2 losses. I think there's a path for that. With a gun to my head right now, I would say Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, Alabama. I do think that A&M has a chance. I think if A&M beats Texas, then
but that's not happening.
If that's not happening.
It's a done deal.
If A&M beats Texas, they're going to the SEC championship.
But they're not.
If they win, they're in.
They might have to play them twice.
I'm definitely picking Texas in that game, and I've got Texas going as one of the 4. committee's in love with Notre Dame. I'm not sure I would put Notre Dame in above a fifth SEC team, but the committee seems to be in love with Notre Dame, and I think it's going to be a tough. To me, leaving Ole Miss out after beating Georgia is a tough one, but losses to Kentucky and LSU's, not good for their resume. But I think both Tennessee and Georgia can get in, and I think Texas and Alabama will be the third and fourth.
Okay. All right. Before the season started, it's kind of interesting, George, is they were talking about 5 teams going in. So the SEC is very competitive. Let's talk about your playing days. What was it like playing at a big school, a great traditional school like Alabama?
I can't even. It's really hard to put into words the amount of enthusiasm you have, the way the fans treat you, just the opportunity to be able to go and try to fight for everything. I used to love walking down Bryant Denny, going past Denny Chimes, and just hearing everybody interacting with everything. And then once you get into the stadium and you hear the roar of everybody, it's deafening, but it's electrifying at the same time. So, playing major college football, there's nothing like it. I think it's even more thrilling than.
Tell us about this moment right here.
This moment right here is called. Speed. Speed. That's what we're going to call it. But a little bit of determination and a little bit of fear at the same time. I was kind of out of position, Chris, to tell you.
Yeah, you were.
I was a 2-man. I was supposed to be over the top, so I had to hurry up and get there. And that's what happens when you kind of loafing a little bit. You got to go back to your track days.
Now, tell everyone just so they don't know, that was a national championship game.
It was.
And it's one of the most memorable plays in Alabama history, and people probably still talk about it, correct?
We do. I was just in Alabama on Monday, and that was the main thing that I need to be able to talk about.
People still talk about that?
That happened in 1993, and it's still a topic. So I'm just glad to be known for things like that and not some other negative stuff that couldn't be out there.
Right.
So I appreciate it.
And last thing I'll do, and then we'll toss to Jamie. But back then, Miami was the dominant team. Y'all were the underdogs in that game, correct?
Until we beat them 34-13, by the way. Oh, I'm just saying. The only touchdown.
You remember that?
The only touchdown they scored was a punt return, and they shouldn't even have got that one. So, that is it's something we talk about with the Miami players still, and we all went to the NFL and we kid around and all that kind of stuff. And Lamar Thomas, the guy I chased down in the film right there, he's sure to remind me that they beat us in 1989. Then we turn around and beat them in the 93 Sugar Bowl, both in the Sugar Bowl. So great teams, great moments, but I'm just glad that we handled them because there was only one writer that picked us to win that game.
Really?
Only one.
You remember that?
I do, because it set a fire under us like no one thinks we can win this game.
Wow.
Not even a chance.
Interesting that you still remember that.
Oh, yeah. It got on our nerves a little bit.
I bet it did. All right, Jamie is a huge Alabama fan. She went there. She is still a huge fan. Jamie, fire away. Y'all are going to connect, obviously, because y'all are big Crimson Roll Tide fans. Fire away. What do you got for George Teague?
Yeah, we are. Hey, George, good to see you again.
Yeah, I did.
We talked a lot about your special on-the-field moments and what happened during games. And I was a student in Bama. I was an NFL cheerleader. NFL and college game day are obviously electric, but I'm really interested in a memory that sticks out for you that was perhaps in the locker room, off the field with a coach that maybe a lot of people don't know. So what was an off-the-field memory that you had that you can share with us?
Okay, great question. So the first one that immediately came to mind, and maybe I'll give you two. The first one was Coach Stallings used to do Saturday morning breakfast with us seniors, just us. Oh man, it was great because it was just to allow in the off season. So it just allowed us to be ourselves, be cool. Probably trying to make sure we didn't stay out too late on Friday nights and things of this nature. But he would come and we just have conversations. And I just remember him always talking about our family, our girlfriends, our lives, our schoolwork. And I think that touched me so much just to say, hey man, this guy cares more than just the X's and O's.
Right.
So that was always pretty big. And then the second one would actually be draft day. you never really know what that's going to be like, after you get there and you're waiting for your name to be called. And I remember having my bag phone. Yeah, some of y'all don't even know what bag phones are if you're that young or whatever, but my cell phone rang for the first time, and being able to hear the Green Bay Packers say that they were going to draft me was pretty cool.
I know, but a lot of people are like, Green Bay. What did you think? Freezing.
Only thing I knew about Green Bay is that it was cold. I had no idea where it was. What it was going to be like, and it was the one team that I said I did not want to go to. So make sure that that you just have your realistic expectations on what it is, because you never know who you're going to get the call from.
Right. Jamie, you got one more. What do you got?
Yeah. Actually, hold on. I got two more Yates. And
Oh, whoa. Wow, you're like stealing questions. You're taking questions from us. All right, go ahead.
He's a great guest. We got to get everything we can.
All right.
You mentioned you obviously played for Alabama and then got drafted to Green Bay. The committee last night had Alabama matched up with Indiana up in Bloomington, and we would be going there to play. How do you think that some of these matchups, perhaps with the northern and southern schools, do you think that the weather, I mean, that game's not going to be until December 20th, is going to impact the state of play and perhaps the result in the game, because a lot of these SEC teams aren't used to playing up north?
Well, if anybody ever says that weather doesn't matter when it comes to the game, I'm going to tell you they're lying, because it does. I do know playing in Green Bay. Just coming from Alabama, going up there, it was miserable. It was hard to do. You try to look hard and be sleeveless and all that kind of stuff, but it's cold. And I can remember even going further south, but when I was with the Cowboys and going back up to Green Bay to play, it's hard to do. You can't practice for cold weather. So warm weather teams or cold weather teams, like when I was in Green Bay, we could go inside, turn up the heaters, try to make it hot, make it sweat, that kind of thing. You can't reverse that for the cold weather.
And I bet you it's the hitting, right?
Yeah.
It's when you hit someone, you're cold.
Oh, it hurts. You take a helmet to the arm or to the shin or something. It's brutal. So yeah, if Alabama had to travel like that, you'd have to be mentally prepared and try to find a way just to, expose the guys. Cold tubs, I don't know, the balls are different, they're harder. You got to do something to make sure that you can catch the ball. Do you have the right kind of gloves? Do you have the right kind of cleats?
Yeah.
There's so many things that go into when you go up north.
All right, Jamie, you get your third one. Let's go.
Okay, all right. The storyline of the season has obviously been Kalen DeBoer replacing Nick Saban as our head coach. Almost an impossible feat, an impossible role to come in and, feel like you can even have success. But
brutal.
What do you think so far now that we're 9 games into the season? What kind of job do you think he's doing?
I'm supporting the guy. When I first got to Alabama, I was in under Bill Curry, and we were really good. Then I had a coaching change the second year. Just having new people come in, trying to get their own process in, doing different things, it takes some time for that. Sure, maybe things look a little bit different. Guys weren't as disciplined as they needed to be. Some of the offensive plays didn't look well. Defense was giving up yards, all this kind of stuff. But just looking at the LSU game and watching the tape, you can see that they're a very different team than they were 3 weeks ago. And I think it's just part of the process of going through that. So, yeah, it's very hard to try to follow behind a GOAT like Saban, but I think he's doing a tremendous job, and he's going to fit well over the course of time. We're
going to switch gears now. A couple of weeks ago, we had this discussion here, and I was like, George would have been perfect on this discussion. We're talking about the best rivalries in the SEC, obviously Texas-Oklahoma. I would say would be the best rivalry in college football.
Nah.
See, I'm not even listening. Jamie said the same thing. But Texas-Oklahoma is a great rivalry, but now Charlie's going to bring out Alabama, and I want your opinion on this game, or is there another one? Charlie, what do you got?
Well, I know that the fans love rivalries. Media manufactures rivalries sometimes, like Texas OU or whatever.
Hey, what do you mean manufacture? That's the greatest rivalry in college football. Are you manufactured? Okay, Charlie's out of here. Get him out of here.
So I know from a it's an obvious question from a fan and media perspective, but from a player's perspective, when you were playing, and it may have changed from year to year, who were the rivalries, the teams? It might have been personal. It might have been a team. Who were the teams that you wanted to beat really bad?
Before you answer, let's roll what we had picked and tell us if we were right. Is it the Iron Bowl? Everybody talks about the Iron Bowl.
Oh, absolutely. You already got that marked every single week on what it's going to be.
Okay.
You know, and why it's so different than the other ones is because in the state of Alabama, there are no pro teams, right? There are in-state, so Texas OU, y'all not even in-state. You're not even, how's your rivalry not Texas A&M? But whatever.
It used to be.
Nah, but whatever, right? And so this is where people live and breathe. You know, the stores are split down the middle. Alabama, Auburn, segregation, you know, still going on with football, you know, because it's that die hard kind of thing. So that was always someone you would look for. You will get fired if you don't beat. DeBoer can come in and beat everybody, but if he can't find a way to beat Auburn, hey man, he's going to get walked out the doors.
Really?
You know, those kind of things.
It's that big.
That's how serious this is.
But is it your favorite one?
It is my favorite because of the.
Charlie, you were right.
Now, we did have, you know, I can say, I felt like Tennessee was always a rivalry for us a little bit.
Oh, Jason.
It was always the third, you know, weekend in October. So that was good. That was and then LSU, it seems like it's become more of a rivalry now. Maybe it has something to do with Saban coming from there and all that kind of stuff and playing at night. But Auburn, Tennessee, then LSU for me.
You didn't even mention Georgia.
No, because there wasn't really we didn't even hardly play there that much.
Okay.
Back in the day, you were always going to play those other teams, so those are the big ones.
Yeah, that's a new rivalry. Yeah, the Georgia-Alabama thing's a new rivalry.
All right, and then we got this Vol guy over here. Loves his Vols. He's going to dog you a little bit. Jason, fire away, and you know you can beat him down for storming the field and all that.
Let me start with I never lost to Tennessee. Now he can go ahead and say.
Oh shit! How do I even ask a question after that? Yeah. But Teague, you are 0-2 in the state of Tennessee this year, as far as Alabama
goes. Ouch!
Okay,
that hurts.
Okay,
that's rough.
That's a good one.
Even Vanderbilt took you out. So.
We believe in charity. We believe in charity. We believe in charity.
What do you think when a big game like that Tennessee-Alabama game, the fans storm the field? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about when you're a player? You know, I don't know if you ever experienced that as a visiting team. When you get upset like that and the fans storm the field, what does a player go through? And then, we can talk about the Georgia player here in a few minutes as well that kind of got in a little hot water over celebrating with the Ole Miss fans.
I think two things immediately happen. The first one is you realize that you are definitely the standard if people have to storm the field for you. You know, we're always talking about a win is a win. You know, you beat them, you hand the ball back to the officials, you go to the locker room, you pray out in the middle, whatever you're going to do, and then you go about it. So every time someone beats Alabama, they're rushing the field, carrying goalposts all around the city. That just means, we're still on top of the world, right? That's the first piece. But honestly,
so you like it?
It just goes to remind you that, hey, we're still those people. We are them, right? But the other piece is if you're actually on the field, it's scary, man. It's terrifying because people are drunk and they're doing stuff and you're just worried about, are you going to get hurt? What is going to happen? You're trying to find people, getting it back in the locker room, and it's dangerous for everybody. And that's where you see players actually sometimes may do the wrong thing because, it's almost like the fight or flight kind of thing. And you just wonder, okay, who's trying to touch me? What
people
are they trying
don't talk
to do?
About that.
They're trying to grab your, they want things, they want stuff. It's the part that you don't really see. People are grabbing on you and touching you, and you're just worried about, your personal space.
That makes sense.
From other people, and then that's when you start, get off me, get back, and then all of a sudden you got players hitting people, not intentionally, but more in the defensive mechanism. So I would ask it's like, being in a zoo or something, man. Just everybody's coming in, and I encourage or
they should almost let the opposing team or whoever loses get in the locker room first, and then they can storm. They can do whatever they want. Okay. All right, now we're going to go to...
You mean there are drunk fans? There are actually drunk fans at a SEC football game? Really? I'm being sarcastic to you. Of course there are.
Just a couple.
Especially night games. Especially night games in LSU.
Orange.
Right? Yeah, everywhere. All right, we're gonna All right, we're going to do 3 images, right? Yep. Images of the week. The first one we're not going to talk over. We're just going to play it. It's Kirby Smart.
Kirby, there's a video on social media of Jake Pope seemingly celebrating with some Ole Miss fans on the field after the game. Just wanted to see if you had seen that and what your reaction to it was.
Yeah, what an idiot. I mean, just stupid. I didn't see it till today, but he's embarrassed about it. He's upset about it. That's obviously a childhood friend of his. He grew up and played with there at Buford and knows him. Hadn't seen him in forever, but just not real smart. But to be honest with you, I don't have time to waste energy on that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like my focus is on Tennessee. I'm not worried about that.
Ooh, what do you feel about that? Also as a teammate, what if your teammate did that?
That means you're not in tune to the game. You're not even paying attention to what's happening. No emotions, no feeling that you can just go cheer with your friends or whoever it is. That's not the deal. Typically,
would you be upset?
Heck yeah, I would be upset.
What would you tell that guy?
I'd remind him of what I did to Terrell Owens and.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. I didn't even tell you. I didn't even tell you that was coming up. You're like, okay, that's incredible. Okay, so now we're gonna show you some beautiful images. Now, you ready? This is our cheerleader of the week. Look at that beauty. What do you think?
What the heck? I'm sorry. First of all, only thing I saw was the checkerboard. I ain't talking about anything else. The checkerboard already got me there. I got to throw up, man. It's got too many vibes.
What about that?
For me.
Didn't that look great?
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. I love the American flag. I'm a roll with that.
Okay, so the reason we did this is I lost a bet. That's me, actually. Did you know that?
Oh, well,
that's Photoshop. That's not real women.
They made you look a whole lot better than you look right now. There.
What do you mean? I look better right there? Oh my God, that's harsh. Wow. Wow. Man. Some of my friends that saw this actually were like, dude, I can't even sleep at night. I've got nightmares. We're going to go to the rest of y'all on this one. Real quick, though, Jason is the one that put that together. I had a bet. I said Texas will beat Georgia, and I'll make a bet on it, and I lost. They dockered me up. Jason there sends my wife a text and says, can you send a nudie photo or a photo without Chris in his shirt? And she's like, who is this guy? This is weird, creepy. My wife's like, this Jason's guy asking you to send him a photo of you without your shirt on. What the hell's going on in this program? And I'm like, honey, fans only, baby. We got to make some money. Jamie, you're a cheerleader.
It was Jamie's idea.
Hey, Jamie, you're an NFL cheerleader. Would I have made your squad, and would you have been proud to cheer next to me?
Well, I mean, with the bod I saw in that photos, yeah, you would definitely pass the uniform check that we had to go through every Sunday. We need to get you some makeup help, though, I think.
I don't think his kick routine would work very well. I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay.
I need to wash my eyes out with bleach.
Yeah. Images of the week. We're going to end on my favorite and iconic Dallas Cowboys moment, probably top 5 in their history, even though it's a loss. Tell us about this. What's going on here? You were playing with the Cowboys. This happened. You have a story that nobody's heard that you told me off camera. What happened during and after with your family and with Jerry Jones. Go through the whole scenario. What's going on here?
Well, Terrell Owens was having a few comments about my mother during the game. We were saying good accolades, just, how's your mom doing, that kind of thing, right? And it just led to things happening bad. So after I hit him, a lot of people only think about me getting kicked out of the game, but I wasn't the only Teague that actually got kicked out of the game. So my brother...
Wait, real quick. Backtrack a little bit for the fans watching. That moment, you were at the end zone while he was storming. Yeah. What were you thinking at that moment, and why did you go for it?
No, it was pure anger. We'd already had a couple scuffles. He'd been out one time. Emmett came back out, kind of, took the star back and all this kind of stuff. And
so he's basically going to go celebrate on the star.
He was going to score. I knew he was going to score a touchdown, unfortunately, and I knew he was going to do something. I did not know what. And then once I saw him start going, it was like, all right, enough of that. It was just kind of an immediate reaction.
Yeah, emotion.
That it's time to get it on.
You didn't celebrate with him like the Ole Miss player.
No, I was not going to do that. At the end of the day, fans, well, I didn't have the opportunity after the game either because I got kicked out. You actually get kicked out of the stadium.
Yeah, talk about that in your family.
So after I got tossed, first of all, and the guest that you already had on the show, Darren Woodson had already got thrown out of the game. A lot of people don't even talk about that because he chunked his helmet across the field and all this kind of stuff. So he was in the locker room, and when I came in, he thought the game was over because, players are starting to come in, and I started fussing at him, telling him, "Nah, man, it's your fault. You left me out there by myself, blah, blah, blah," this kind of stuff, right? So I didn't really know what to do. I got kicked out of the game. So I was actually walking out of the stadium, and I see my brother getting escorted out of the stadium at the same time, out the same.
The whole family.
Exit. And he was looking at me. He's like, "What's going on?" And I was looking at him like, "What's going on with you? Why are you getting kicked out?" This kind of thing. So he was up in the stands fighting while I was on the field fighting, and we both got kicked out of
the whole Teagues are fighting. Teagues in the stands, Teagues on the field.
That's right.
And then after that week, you had to go walk in, and he had to go walk in and talk to the Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones. Tell us about that. So this is a story nobody knows.
Yeah, I did have to talk to both Campo and Jerry Jones, and they hit me with the, "Hey, we're glad that you supported the team and do the things that you did," but they used this word. They said, "But we got to fine you." Excuse me, what? And why? This kind of thing. He said, "Yeah, once you get ejected, you're going to get kicked out." And so this was on Monday. Game was on Sunday. We played on Monday. He said, "So tomorrow, the next day, $24,999 is coming out of your check, and have at it."
But what did he tell you when you said, "Is that okay?" What did he say? He said something.
Oh man, I don't know what you're trying to get me to prompt me to remember, but I can't remember it.
You told me that he said, "Well, we have to find you, but I'm glad you did it."
Yeah, that's right. It is true, and he is glad that we did it, and we still talk about it.
The fans still bring that up.
Yeah, and it's a good talking point for me when I'm speaking to the students at my school and things of that nature about what anger is versus what passion is, and when you can go too far past the line. But what does it also mean to protect your home, winning on your own turf and things of this nature? So there's a lot of things to be able to talk about with that. But I guess the main thing is, even though I talked to Jerry Jones and all the team members, the one person I have not talked to is Terrell Owens, and that's been a long time.
We should make that happen. Would you do it?
No, it's okay. It's been long enough. I'm good.
If we brought him on the show, you wouldn't talk to him.
You wouldn't have to worry about me. He would not want to talk to me because it's been 25. I've actually tried to approach him multiple times already since we've been out of the league.
He's scared.
And he won't
T.O., you scared, man.
So it is what it is.
We're going to go to you guys in a minute, but I want to just real quick, you brought up some that you mentioned that people don't know about. When you said talk to your kids, what does that mean? Let people know what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm athletic director at John Paul II High School in Plano, Texas. Been there about 8 years now. I coached football after I got done with playing with the Dallas Cowboys after I retired. Now I'm an athletic director there. So I get to try to mentor coaches and the players and everything else on just, what it means to be a high-level athlete and what it means, how you should act on and off.
Are you a good athletic director?
No, I would say so. I've still got a
Can
job,
Could you be a general manager?
I think I'd be a great general manager.
From the Dallas Cowboys? We need help. That's what I'm getting at. Can you be a general manager of an NFL team? Just some friends want to know from Dallas.
Well, if there was a spot open, which I don't think there's ever going to be a spot.
But why can't we get a spot open? Please.
I might apply, but there is not a place to apply for general manager at the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, let's wrap up the show. Final thoughts. We'll go Jason, Charlie, and we'll end with Jamie because you're the Alabama. What's your final thoughts or just one little thing you want to say to George?
All right, George, we were talking about the playoff teams a little bit earlier. Out of all those playoff teams, who's going to win? Who's going to end up national champion?
Would it surprise you if I said Alabama's going to win the national championship? But no.
This?
I know it's hard to think with your
Are
heart
you
and your head, right?
Come on, dude.
You know what? Here's the deal. And so I did pick Texas to win the SEC championship.
Oh, okay.
And that was my preseason prediction.
Really?
Now, if things keep going like this, honestly, I know you're talking about this, but I think watching Oregon play, I think they're just really, really good football team. I think they're my favorite at this point.
Okay.
So you don't think it's going to be an SEC team?
Well,
You think Oregon can do it?
You might ask me that in 3 more weeks or something, but as of right now, I think Oregon is the best team in the country.
All right, Charlie, you got a quick one you want to add?
Yeah. Hey, I really appreciate you spending time with us today. It's been great. Really enjoyed listening to you. And I know we saw this iconic play that you had in the national championship game against Miami. But do you think, was that your best overall game of your career? I know you had a lot of good ones, but is there another game that stands out where you said, I was just a dominant? Because one thing I'm going to tell you, too, is the day after that national championship game with Miami, I came into the office, and our CEO, who's not really a football guy, he looked at me and he said, that was quite a game last night or something. I said, yeah, it was. He said, that George Teague,
What?
he's like a man among boys.
That's awesome.
Well,
Wow.
So I'll answer it with this.
That's my memory. But is there another game where you just said, I felt like I had a really good game? Because, you feel like after a game, you feel like you had a good game or not. Is there another game that sticks out?
Well, it would actually be in the pros, honestly.
Okay.
It would be 1996 Dallas Cowboys first round playoff versus the Minnesota Vikings. Just after I just got traded and cut and came here. And I actually had an interception, 2 forced fumbles, and you might, Chris J, you
I was there.
this. It was 3 consecutive series back to back to back. So I had 3 huge plays to help us win the game. And I came in as a backup, ended up starting and all that kind of stuff. But when you're talking about being in the moment, you guys know that, or in the zone, it's like anything that I did that game, if I was around the ball, I was going to get it or it was going to be on the ground. So that was my.
That's awesome. It's so cool that he remembers like the moment, the game, and even the year. Jamie, you're the last one. You stole a question, and I'm still letting you have one more. Go for it.
Well, thanks. I'm still hung up on this playoff picture, so let's circle back to that really quickly.
Right.
Since the inception of the playoff, we have been so focused on getting the 4 best teams in, and we rewrote the rules this year with expanding the playoff, and the top 4 teams are going to be the conference champions, not necessarily the 4 actual best teams. A, how do you feel about that? And B, can you?
So that's 2 questions more. So now you're at 5, but go ahead.
Sorry, you can find me after the show.
I'll find you like Jerry Jones. You're fined.
Yeah. What was B? I didn't hear B.
Yeah, I didn't get it out because Yates is talking over me.
I know.
Do you like that? And B, can you believe that there is a scenario in which the SEC champions perhaps might not be in the top 4 and get that first round bye?
Yes, I do see that.
That's crazy.
And it is weird. So in one sense, I think this is one of those things you didn't really think about in the beginning, that you might have someone get a bye and you're not even got the best records or whatever it is. So you had alluded to it earlier in the show where you were talking about how do you even get to the SEC championship, all these tie breaks and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out who do we need to lose to be able to just to get the opportunity. And is it even better to maybe not be in the SEC championship?
That's crazy.
Because you can get knocked out or be eliminated. So there's so many different ways to think about it. So no, I don't necessarily, now in hindsight, I'm like, they're going to have to fix this on what that means, just being the champion.
Yeah.
And I forgot what B was again.
That was it. You answered A and B together.
So.
Do you think that after this playoff plays out that we're going to actually kind of rewrite some of the rules and the seeding and the structuring of the 12-team playoff for 2025?
Yeah, because there's going to be somebody that doesn't get in that all the people are going to be mad. We were always worried about who was number 5. Now it's going to be number 13 that's going to be really good. And you're like, how in the world did they not get in? When whoever Indiana. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing out one.
But it's still
someone that
12 teams.
falls
I mean, that's a
or
good.
something.
That's a good field.
Well, that's what the NFL does. It should be the standard, but it's just the path. You need to restructure maybe the initial part of actually how you get in a little bit more defined. Of instead of the other 8 that someone gets to choose, make it that you're going to be wild cards, and the way you're going to do is by being ranked.
Right.
All
right, Jamie, you're not going to be.
You're going to be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, Jamie, you're not going to be fined. You had a damn good question.
Was a good question.
You're off the hook. You're like a 60 Minutes reporter right there on that question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Always a
appreciate you
pleasure,
guys.
man.
Thank you
Always
very
fun.
much.
Thank you, Teague.
I've known Teague since the 90s, back in the day, man. Great job. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you guys for coming on, and thank you for watching Southern Football Network. Check us out on YouTube. We got all these videos, and check us out. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.
Woo, roll tide.